Yeah, good morning, sort of. Um, is it morning? Well, it is someplace. It is here. It's 11:43. Look at my stuff is just completely out of whack. This is what we call last second live stream. It's complete disorganization. I don't even have my lights on. There. Ah, just like home. Hey, welcome. There's actually 4 people here. That's pretty amazing. Those of you who joined me last night on Aaron Live, the big show, will no doubt remember that I didn't quite finish that Man-Thing sketch, and I sort of half promised that I would come on possibly live today and finish it up, and gosh darn it, that's what I'm doing. So it wasn't a hollow promise. It was actually the truth. Let's see who's here. Lady Celtic Moon, hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Actually, I think that's what you feed horses. Hey, hey, hey should be H-E-Y, but that's what I'm here for, is to correct your spelling. But thank you for coming in. Aaron, Liviere, howdy. There's a little cowboy emoji. I like that. Now, here's a respectful response. I like that. Past Master Dan, hello, Mr. Lopresti. I think that shows the proper amount of respect. Look at that, Rodney dropped in. Hey, Rodney. Okay, well, you know what? Here, I got a question for anybody out there that might know the answer to this. I got this package from Core TCG. Okay, I haven't even heard of these people, right? Core TCG. And so I get this envelope and I open it up and there's this card in here. Can we see that? I don't know if you can. It's like a it's a herald of creation. It's a spellcaster and it has like points down at the bottom. This is Konami, part of Yu-Gi-Oh card set game. Okay. I got a little invoice with it, and it was like, this was 25 cents, right? I never ordered this. My wife, Shelly, why would she order it? But she claims she never ordered it. And yet we got this with an invoice from these people in this nice little envelope that it just, you know, it fits nicely in here. And it was the strangest thing. I thought, oh, what did I order? And I opened it up like, I didn't order this. I don't even know what this is. But there you go. So if anybody knows what this is, or has ever heard of these people, or say, hey, that Yu-Gi-Oh card, that's worth $1 million, let me know. Or if you need it, let me know. And you know, if you buy a book or art from me or something, I will gladly include it in your package. So Hyper Kaiju is here. How about that? Like says I'm a ladder climber. That's good stuff. That's, you know, that made me laugh. So I'll give you this. So there you go. See, now, but that's not true. I don't collect this garbage. Somebody sent it to me, and I didn't even order it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's a mystery. Life is a mystery, right? What did they say in Kung Fu Panda? Life is a mystery and tomorrow's a present. No, wait a minute. Today is the present. No. Today's a gift. That's why they call it a present. Tomorrow's a mystery. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, so Rodney says he can't even find it online. See, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it means. I don't know why I have it or why it was sent to me, but I mean, they sent it with a little order form that showed that somebody had ordered it, and they sent it to me. And no one in this house ordered it. No one plays that game. Oops, sorry about that. So I don't know. Like I said, it may be one of those things that never gets solved. I'm frantically. I just put it. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was looking for my eraser. Okay. Well, let's get cracking, shall we? This is a show not about comedy, but a show about art. Yeah. Yes. Wait a minute. This. Yeah. Well, the man thing had purple in it. Oh, you know what? Of course, Andy, stop. Stop with that foolishness. Boo. Okay. Let's see. Looks like a setup. No, you know what? It isn't. It isn't. I'm an innocent party in all this. I like this. Oh, see, now I'm getting calls out for guys that are in the message board. My wife's not here, so now Andy's going to steal the show. Art T. Bear. I don't know. Did Art send it to me? Maybe he did. Paulus Arts. He's throwing out the hail. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. All right, let's get to some drawing because that's what we're here for. Really. Not Yu-Gi-Oh cards that make no mysterious Yu-Gi-Oh cards that make no sense. Okay, so now I'm switched to this camera, and I'm going to kill this light because it's unnecessary. And I'm going to jiggle the camera around a little bit. Oh, you remember this guy from yesterday. I got to do a little bit of erasing here. And again, these pink pencil toppers are excellent. Not for doing huge areas, but boy, for getting into the nooks and crannies, you know, and just getting a few lines out of there, it's they're quite effective. Of course, I'm using it for much wider scale erasing right now, which is not the most practical use of these things, but I've got them all over my pencils anymore, so they're everywhere, and I don't even know where my big erasers are at, and they're probably buried someplace. Oh, and if you've ordered artwork from me, well, probably no one watching right this second is waiting on art, but everything is packaged up, and books, art, everything. I'm totally caught up. Except for Fred Branaugh's commission, which he just sent me the money for, so I'm going to be starting that today. But Fred wanted me to throw it out to the chat. He does these commissions that are sort of circus themed, right? So he takes characters like, you know, She-Hulk or Wonder Woman or whoever and puts them kind of in a circus theme. And he's not even 100% sure of which characters he wants to use. So he said, throw it out to the chat group and see if there's anybody has any suggestions for some sort of, you know, circus themed commission with two female characters. I would assume is what he wants. I'm totally on board with She-Hulk. I draw Wonder Woman a lot, so I'm like, I can give or take with that. But if you have any suggestions for a circus themed commission, and not too detailed because I only do like a limited background and stuff. So he was like suggesting maybe Wonder Woman arm wrestling She-Hulk. I don't really see how that's a circus thing, but so anyway, I'm tossing it out there for ideas from the audience. If you got anything, throw it out and we'll see if it sticks. All right. All right, since I'm going to go green on this guy because he is the man thing. Johnny, Johnny wants to know if I got his. Johnny Fitz is here. Yes, I did get your email. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. The one where you said you were going to tap out for a while, and then there was one about the sketchbook. And I did get the sketchbook. I did the sketch last night, and it is boxed up, and it is in, ready to go out. It'll go out in the mail today. So if that's what you're referring to, yes, your book is done and ready to go. Hellcat and Dazzler circus theme. That's a very bizarre combination, Rodney. That's good. Anyway, okay, so since he's going to be green, I'm going to go in with some cool grays. I could go warm and still be all right with a green over the top. It just depends on if I want a warm green, like an olive type green, or a cooler green. You know, that's kind of interesting. I'm changing my mind already. I'm wondering if maybe I do want a warmer green. Well, I'm going to stick with this. I'm committed already. So I'm going to go with cool grays underneath, and I'm going to go colored pencil over the top. So this is basically just a 0 that I'm using to establish all my values. So I don't really have to, all I have to do once I get the values established with the marker is just basically run the colored pencil over the top of it. And I don't have to do any sort of, this is of course running out of ink, as all my pens are, as I continually complain about, and for some reason never seem to fill them. But of course the idea is establish the values with your grays and then go in over the top with the color, and I can just lay flat color over the top of the grays. And since the grays have already established my modeling and my values, I don't have to do any work with the colored pencil. It's really an old painting technique where you go in with a single color, a monochromatic color, and establish all your values. Basically do the painting in black and white as it were. And then you what they call scumble color in over the top of that, having already established the values and the highlights and the shadows and all that kind of stuff. All right, well, all I basically did was prime the board a little bit with that. Now let's see, what do I got? Do I have C2 someplace? I do, here it is. So you couldn't even see what I did. It's very, very light. But Paulus Arts wants to know what kind of Brie Larson in a clown car. That's too good for her. Favorite circus moment so far was when the elephants on parade pooped in front of a dwarf clown, and the clown almost passed out from the fumes. The guy with the 55-gallon drum wasn't happy either. Jeez. Oops, sorry, that was the same one we just did. She-Hulk in a tutu riding a small tricycle, clown makeup. Wow. Let's see. Storm and Rogue is a high flying act. That's not bad. Keep them coming. I don't actually. I mean, ultimately, it's not my decisions. I'm just going to offer some suggestions to the dude who wants the commission and see if we can figure out something that he's happy with and that I'm not going to kill myself drawing. So this is a C2 over the top of a C0. Again, my light source is coming down this way. So everything on the left side is going to get a heavier shadow treatment. I'm going to make this leg a lot darker back here so it doesn't blend in with this arm. I need to get some separation from these two things. And when I'm laying down these values like this, I treat every little piece of the body as a shape, right? Like these knuckles are circles, right? So each one of those circles is going to get have a dark and a light side. Every muscle that's sectioned off is going to have a dark and a lighter side. And that way I can create some volume. So the side of the shape that's away from the light is going to get the darker treatment here to create the shadow, and this is going to help create the volume that I'm looking for. So it may get a little sloppy at just simply because it's a glorified sketch, and so I'm not gonna kill myself on it to keep it somewhat loose. Okay, now I'm gonna go with the C3, and that'll be the last of, or the darkest. Then I'm gonna go with these. So you can see that a little bit. You know, I'm starting to create a little bit of volume there. You can hear that that pen is, of course, almost out of ink. So, guess what that means? I can't avoid it any longer. I'm going to have to refill this. All I have to do is find the refill, and I'm in the, maybe it's a C1, but I don't want a C1. I need a C3. There's a C2. You know, I think they do make these little, oh, see, oh, is my C3 empty? It almost is. So we take the cap off, right? I'll usually do this with my bare hands because the ink on these, you know, the lighter grays is not that dark, but you could take a tissue like that and just pull the tip off. So then I open this sucker up, my C3, which doesn't have much left in it, but, and then, oops, put the nozzle in here like that, basically, and then squeeze what ink is in there delicately into my pen. Now it seems like I'm pushing a lot in here, but there's hardly any in this container. So I'm having to push just to get a couple drops out. Or normally I'd maybe give it, you know, 5 or 6 good squeezes and call it good. But I'm doing this kind of as I'm just getting drips out of it. All right, that's pretty much bone dry at this point. And I don't think I have another. I might. Oh, wait a minute, what's that? That's a C0. Suddenly I got more C0s than I know what to do with. I really need a C3. There's a C4. So close. And, well, it's nice while it lasted. Show's over. No, I'm kidding. It's a C4. It's a C1. For crying out loud, are you kidding me? I got everything except what I need. Usually that's the thing. Now I'm going to let this lay on its side so that tip can re-soak in the ink I just gave it. And yeah, I brought snacks today, so I'm going to have one of these shortbread raspberry cookies. I got all kinds of refills in here, but I don't think I have any of my cool grays in here. These are all neutral grays and a couple of warms. All right, now if I have a C3 refill, I don't know where it is. So we're going to hope that I got enough ink in here actually make a difference. Well, now wait a minute. Okay, let me address this. Did you say carnival or circus? Because I could see Scarlet Witch doing a palm reading on, say, Black Widow. Well, I mean, I don't know that I said circus, but they, depending on the circus, you would have that same kind of stuff in both of them. Well, are the pens like Copic? Yes. The pens are not cheap. They're like $5 and something a piece, and the refills are like $7 a piece. But or at least they used to be. I don't know what they are right now. I can't remember. But you get a lot of. You can refill these like dozens of times before the refills run out. So it is actually, as painful as it is to have to pay the extra money to get the refills, it's worth it if you use these things a lot. Yeah, this ain't gonna last very long. It's starting to go on me already. Well, there is the doctrine of cumulative effect, which I just made that up, by the way. But if I take a C2, for example, and fill it up, because I actually do have refills for a C2. Okay. Then I can build up that C2 over the top of what I've already laid down, and it'll probably be dark enough. So let's do this and see if I can not make a mess while I'm doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squeezes, and one little drip on the side. Oops. All right. So then I put that back in there. I'm going to put the cap on it, lay it down just for a minute, and then recap my refill, because I don't want this to dry up. And then we'll see if I can get anything going with this too. Oops, wrong way. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Full of ink. That's what I wanted. This is the kind of action you get at a con when you're, sitting there looking over my shoulder. If you were looking over my shoulder. Actually, it'd be hard for you to look over my shoulder because you'd have to actually get behind me to do that. And you can't really do that at a show. You'd be in front of me looking at this upside down going, what is he doing? I don't really understand what he's doing. Okay, I think that's good enough for our intents and purposes. So what I want to do now is, actually I'll go ahead and, since I have a red pen sitting right here, I'll go ahead and do his eyes. Because everybody knows the Man-Thing's eyes are red. Really, any good monster's eyes are going to be red. Leave a little white highlight there in the corner. That's the only red on the thing, so, or should I say the only red on the Man-Thing. Okay, so now I'm right back and I can't find my green pencil now. This is just the most outrageous thing. There's brown. Okay, well, you know what? I can do these roots while I'm looking for my green. Let's see. Psylocke doing a sword swallowing demonstration with Brie Larson trying to copy her. Oh my gosh. Black Widow throwing knives at Brie Larson. Oh, God, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Oh, man. All right, so I'm going to go in here and use the brown on these tree roots. I have to decide which ones are tree roots and which ones are just veins. This is a smooth surface paper again, so this pencil will smudge and smear really easily, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, obviously, if you get a you know, commission from me, for example, that's got a lot of colored pencil on it. I mean, you're not going to be rubbing your hands across a commission anyway. At least I hope you're not when you get original art. So so yeah, it can smear real easy, but you're not supposed to be touching it anyway. But for my purposes, when I'm working on it, I like it to blend really easily like that. I can kind of go in there and do this and sort of smooth it out a little bit pretty easily. So you can see that we're getting some brownage in there. I'm kind of hesitant to go in too close because if I do, I'll end up losing track of where I'm at, and then I'll be drawing off camera. I have a really bad habit of doing that, and that's kind of like, what's the point of the live stream if you can't even see what I'm doing? Okay, we got some more roots over here. Was there anybody that's here right now that wasn't in the live stream last night? Because I will, if you didn't see the Wraith of God piece that I showed, which is my creator-owned future crowdfunding project, I'll show it if you haven't seen it, if you weren't there last night. But you actually have to let me know in the messages. Are you aware of a scientist named Stabmatz whose theories are eerily similar to Man-Thing's abilities? No, I'm not. There you go. This isn't a Graham Nolan stream, but I think I'll have an afternoon beer anyway. Might as well. The heck. Christina Lynn is dropping in. She says, hi. Hi, Christina. Thanks for joining us. I hope he would. Well, let me finish these roots, and then I'll pull up that drawing, or pull out that drawing. I think that's. I think that's the roots. I think it is. I think it is. I think it is. I think it is. All right, I'm going to set that right there. And let me see if I can grab some green. Here's some. Excellent. Excellent, Smithers. All right. So here's the I'm gonna barf. All right, so this is the Wraith of God piece from last night. It's my monster Western superhero comic, I guess. Is there any genre that is untouched by it? No, there isn't. So there you have it. So that's the cover. That'll be one of 3 covers. Obviously, I have to color it yet, but which is next on my list to do. And I'm laying out some pages right now because I want to get some of this artwork. I want to get a fair amount of artwork done before I launch it. I'm glad that Mike Miller takes the time to drop in. And Mike, I have this for you. So thanks for your comments. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the positive response that aren't having anything to do with Mike Miller. Yeah. So there you go. I'll get a scan of this and be able to put it up. It'll be a little bit clearer on the scan, but yeah. I'm always upgrading, Mike, always upgrading. Hey, where did you get that Batman sketchbook on your desk? Oh, this was a gift from DC Comics back when they were still giving us Christmas gifts and stuff. And it's just basically, this is printed actually in here. And it's just, you know, they give you examples of how you can use the book. Like I needed them to tell me how to use the book. And that's what all this is like, you know, writing little stories in here and illustrating and whatever. Boy, they wasted a lot of pages with this. What I've done with it, oh, look, there's a Wraith of God pen and ink drawing. And I got some story notes in here that I put in there for that. This I was thinking about doing an illustrated Bible, so I have the different scenes that I would do here. Then I started taking, these are all prices for pages and original art when I went to Europe because I had to change the prices and everything. And then I started keeping track of all the Raw Imagination sketchbooks that I've sold. And that's kind of what this has become. But it's just basically, it's just lined paper once you get through all the garbage. But it's nice leather bound kind of thing. It is very cool. So that'll, after I die, that'll be in my estate and worth probably absolutely nothing. It's like a numbers bookie. Yeah, that one. I'm not doing anything that that would afford me that much financial gain, I don't think. You know, actually, Mike, I bet money there is. I bet you could stick that up on eBay, and maybe sign it or something. And I've got a one of the shoulder what do you call them? Shoulder bags that the DC shoulder bags over there that I never use. I keep thinking I'm going to sign and put up on eBay or something. Because I have 2 of them. One I use all the time. The other one I don't use at all. Thank you, Jeff. This is for you. So, and I know that's what Jeff was angling for anyway. He doesn't feel satisfied unless he gets at least one of those per live stream. All right, so I'm going to go in here with this green. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with this, pardon my shoulder. I got like this sort of lighter green. I think I'm going to go underneath my darker green with this. So again, I'm just kind of because I did all the work with the markers, I'm just going to lay down colored pencil in a very flat, consistent way here, and let the grays underneath it actually, create the modeling and the shadows and so forth. And I'll just go right over the brown too. It's not really trying to establish the green that he's the final green that he's going to be. I'm just kind of going to layer the greens a little bit so that there's a little variation in it, in the color. So I'm not going to hit every single spot. When I'm coloring over the top like this, there's going to be some areas that are going to be greener and other ones that aren't going to be. But your eye should sort of spread the green around, even to the spots that maybe I didn't hit that hard with it. Okay, so then, oops, better do this guy too. All right. So then I'm going to go in with this much more darker green. Now this is a green, kind of pushing towards the yellow spectrum, although it doesn't really look like it. It looks very earthy, doesn't it? And then this one is much more blue. And so I'm just going to go in over the top of that yellowish green with this more bluish green, which you're not really even going to be able to pick up in this scan. It all looks sort of grayish, but it actually is much more green. And as I often complain about, I have serious color issues with this camera that I have not been able to solve, and why it's not reproducing the colors like it should. Because the camera on my computer, the one that I use to talk into before I start drawing, does a much better job of reproducing the colors than this one does, than my external camera does, that I actually spent money on. So I don't know if you can really, but you can see how the grays have established those sort of shadow areas, right? And the green just goes over the top of it, and those shadow areas still stay there, the shadows and the highlights, but now they're green, which you can't really see. But you will be able to once I scan it and post it. And before we tune out today, I'll show it through the other camera, and you'll get a better idea of what the color looks like. And I'll hit this brown up here with a little bit of green too, so it doesn't feel lonely. But again, this is just sort of rapid fire coloring. I'm not trying to be real specific with it, because I don't have to be. The gray marker underneath there really makes this portion easy. I mean, if this is like what I would consider a finished piece rather than a kind of a sketch piece, I would be a lot more careful with the colored pencils. Like if someone was you know, hiring me to do a finished piece or something, I wouldn't be quite this cavalier with the colored pencil. I would be a little bit more careful with it, but that really ticks me off because you can't really see the green. Let me show you the difference here real quick. I'm going to switch to this camera. Let me hit that. So you can see the green on there, how much greener that is than what you're seeing through the other camera. That light's up there. So that gives you kind of an idea. It's much greener than what you're seeing through the other camera. And then we'll switch back and continue our process. Jeff Potts is showing a great appreciation for the triple smack. Now I've upgraded and Mike wants to know if I still have the throw blanket with the DC logo. I don't think I ever got one of those. Maybe I did. God, I'm trying to remember. Didn't we get like, I thought we got like robes one time, didn't we? That's interesting. Throw blanket. I don't remember getting, I must have. I mean, because I've been on the Christmas list for what, 10 years or something. So I'm sure I've got some of that stuff. David's chiming in with some kind words, and so let me respond with this. Thank you, David. That's very nice. Let's see. Christina wants to know information about the Wraith of God. Well, it's kind of a Batman of the Old West. He has a let's see. I haven't really condensed this down to kind of like a, you know, like a sales pitch. But actually, you know what? I might actually have the pitch, the official pitch, because I did try to. I almost did it at DC. I remember showing it to Dan DiDio, and he was like, "Yeah, I like it, but we need to make a few changes," which I'm sure was like, "You had to work the flash in." No, I'm kidding. But we never got to that stage before Dan, unfortunately, was moved on from, and which I'm a big proponent of Dan DiDio. I like Dan a lot. He helped me out a lot. Always had my back when I was at DC. I know some people have sort of mixed emotions about him, but I always had nothing. I have nothing but good things to say about Dan. So I was sorry to see him go. Let me see if I can. Here's the. Oh, here we go. Here's the pitch. Okay, so Christina, here's the pitch. The pitch. A disfigured criminal has his life dramatically altered after seeing an angelic vision while convalescing in a monastery. Mastering the art of disguise, he becomes a Batman of the Old West, and through deception lures a beautiful Salvation Army worker who becomes his Alfred. Despite their tumultuous relationship, together they track down a clan of European werewolves invading the Midwest in the 1880s. That's a yeah. He was a guy that worked in a circus, and so he was like, you know, he was a master of disguise. And he did all these magic tricks and all this kind of stuff, an illusionist perhaps. And through well, I won't give away too much, but he ended up getting part of his, seriously injured by getting part of his face blown off in a criminal endeavor that he was involved in. And so he escaped from the law, but, you know, bleeding, half dead, disfigured, came into contact with this monastery, and there he convalesced for months. And had this vision, or at least he thought he did, of like this angelic being telling him to be this, basically the wrath of God on earth, to go and find evil and destroy it. And so it's never really clear, well, it does become clear, whether or not he actually did have this sort of like meeting with God, if you will, that sort of put him on this path, or if it was all just kind of a drunken stupor haze. And but he convinces this Salvation Army worker to join his cause, and she becomes his Alfred. And so there's this kind of like sort of tumultuous relationship between the two of them that needs to be redefined or defined and corrected throughout the course of the story. So there's that kind of dynamic going on all the while that they're hunting this clan of werewolves in the Old West. So, but as an ongoing series, they're a team that would basically hunt down monsters in the Old West. And he has this wagon that he brings along with him that's sort of like his portable bat cave. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to do something to challenge myself a little bit artistically. And it's a story I've been working on for years. It was originally conceptualized to be a rethinking of the Marvel's Western Ghost Rider. And of course, like many projects, never got it off the ground at Marvel. So I reformatted it into my own character. And that's sort of the genesis of the whole thing. All right, I'm going to go in with, let's see. I'm going to go over the top of this with some warm gray number 4. Even though I already used cool gray underneath it, because I just can't help myself. Once I laid this darker green over it, some of the shadows that I dropped in were kind of lost. So I'm going to go in with this warm 4, and of course warm grays lean towards yellow, and so it's a nice little complement for the green anyway. And as I've stated before, this is a great way to ruin the tips on your pens, because the colored pencil, if you push too hard, gets kind of smeared on the end of the tip of the marker. But I have plenty of extra tips. You can replace the tips. You can buy just bags of tips and you can just replace them. Super easy. They just just pull out and you pop the new one in. But yeah, if you do marker over the top of colored pencil, expect to ruin your tip. Although I'm doing this, I'm touching, since this this marker, this warm gray 4 is so dark that I really don't have to touch the paper very hard. So as a result, I'm probably not picking up as much colored pencil on the tip of it as I might normally do if I was sort of working it around a little bit. That looks better. Looks great to you guys, but I'm telling you, it's green, man. It's green. Let me catch up here in the comments. Can you talk about the story? Okay, I just did. Yes. Man, that man thing is stunning. Man, that man thing is stunning. Boo. No, that wasn't. No, you need to work a little harder, David. Well, I can only do one story at a time, but I do have a vampire story with them. If it were an ongoing thing, if it got to a situation, that's a difficult thing when you do a crowdfunded project, is it's hard to do like a monthly series where it would just be easy to kind of like, okay, there's a 3-issue story arc where they fight the werewolves, and there's a 3-issue story arc where he fights the vampires, and this monster and that monster, you know. When you're doing basically packaging a graphic novel, you know, this is 70 pages. So it's a little bit more than the typical 48 pages that guys are doing. Obviously, it's almost twice as much. But it was originally planned to be like a 3-issue miniseries. And so yeah, it doesn't just end and everybody dies at the end. I mean, it could go on and continue and do new and different stories, but it would be difficult to get them out in a timely fashion. So, but I am working on trying to solve that problem. So Johnny's on his way out. Thanks, Johnny, for stopping by. Appreciate it. Be looking for your book. It'll show up in about a week because I send the books out media mail, so they don't get there super quick. But that's the cheapest way I can mail them. So yeah, I mean, it is. It's true because you don't know, should you follow the vision or should you say, no, you know what, I shouldn't have had that whiskey. I don't know. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do on him. I got to do a little bit with his background. I probably should do something with the water too, although I don't know. I think I'm going to leave the background gray because I don't want it to compete with the color I'm doing with the man thing. Now, of course, me going in and graying this is going to make it all just look gray on your monitor, but it's not. So I'm using a warm gray 1. I might add just a real light brush of color over the top of this gray. I might, if the spirit moves me. Let's see. I'm going to, that was a warm 1. Do I have a warm 2? I know I do. The question is, can I find it? Now, there's my werewolf arm. There it is. A warm 2. So just kind of make it a little bit darker down at the bottom. But I don't want it too dark because I don't want to compete with the value. Okay, so here's the deal. If you do something in the foreground and you're using a darker value, right? And by value, I mean that's just light and dark, okay? Going from a black, say, to a white and all the shades in between. Those are your values, okay? And so a lot of times if you color a project, you'll get carried away with the color, right? And you won't respect the values because it's hard sometimes to read values when you're using color. When you're doing something monochromatically or with a single color, that's what monochromatic means, is a single color, or you know, grays, right, that don't have any color, where you're just establishing the values. It's easy to see lights and darks very clearly. When you start dropping color in, it can get a little confusing. So what you can do is, to make sure that you haven't made huge mistakes with your values, is take a scan of your colored piece, turn it to gray in Photoshop, and then take a look at it and see if all the grays are the same or not, because it'll convert the colors to gray, and then you can see if where you're deficient in your shadow areas or your highlights. And so if this is a real dark foreground figure in gray, then I want this to be light gray in the background, or vice versa. If this is really light, I can go in and make the dark ground really back. Let me try that again. Make the dark ground really dark so that this foreground character stands out more, right? What I don't want is the background to be the same value as the foreground, because then it just all blends together. And it's easy to, like I said, it's really easy to see that when you're just using grays, but not so easy when you're using color, when you're painting and stuff. When you're using markers or colored markers, it is in a sense like you are painting, but you're painting with markers, right? So if I'm going to go in with the green, it's basically the same green as the light green I used in here. I've got to be really careful that I don't go too dark, so I can keep these guys separate. So I'm just going to lightly indicate some color back here. I mean, it won't even pick up in your on this scan. I mean, in the camera won't pick it up, but it will when I scan it. Okay. Julio. So the question is, what do you do with the water? Well, what will we do with the water? I'm going to go back to my grays. Where's my C2? Okay. I'm going to probably, well, I'm going to see, I'll go back with the C0, even though it's not going to give me much because I think it's pretty bone dry. But I got about 4 or 5 C0s, so if I can get enough ink out of them just to kind of soften the edges here of this darker gray. That really didn't do anything. Well, everything's green, right? So I'm going to go with this bluish green in here for this water, but again, I'm going to try and keep it light. These little dark areas here are not that big a deal because I wanted them darker anyway. But I don't want the water surrounding him to be as dark as he is. Or I'd have to make it, or I can make it darker than he is. As long as it's not the same. I'm going to go ahead and darken the bottom of this foliage just so it separates a little bit from the water. It's still not going to be darker than the man thing. Or if I've got, if maybe like a neutral gray for the water. Because the cool grays lean towards the blue, the warm grays towards yellow, and the neutrals are, well, supposed to effectively be neutral. I've got a little bit of green in there because of the colored pencil I put in there. And again, I'm just kind of texturing a little bit, trying to get a little indication of something here. Not going too far overboard with it. I'll take some of this. Maybe darken this up maybe a little bit. little more green over the top of that. Yeah, it is. It's smooth surface though. Wonder Woman lifting She-Hulk lifting an elephant. Yeah, it's a little too much work. How large can you scan up to? I can scan up to about 13 by 19. I have an Expression 12,000 XL Epson scanner. They ain't cheap, but they're very helpful. Sequential Artist says, I actually enjoy seeing your art posted in their true colors on Twitter after watching you produce it here. It really pops. Yeah, I don't know what to do about trying to get these colors to reproduce more accurately. I just have very limited control for this camera, so I don't know. I guess I could go back to Best Buy and go, you sold me this camera, how come it doesn't work? Let's see what they say. Because maybe there's something really easy that I could be doing that I'm not doing, that I just am unaware of. But there doesn't seem, there's no indication of, color balance in the instructions, and the actual control panel I have up here for it is very limited as well. So it doesn't really seem to affect the color. So it could be partially a reflection. Part of the issue could be, well, I was going to say it could be a reflection of the light off the paper, but my shirts and stuff, when I wear like green shirts, they look blue. And so I know it's not the lighting. It's just very strange. All right, so I want to beef up this line just a little bit around the man thing. Is there a clear film sticking to the lens? There was, but I peeled it off. That's kind of like the old, this doesn't work. Did you plug it in? Oh. God, there's something really liberating about being so loose when you're drawing. I love it. All right. I'm going to take a W4 and do a little outline like I normally do on these guys. her there. All right. And folks, that is, as they say, that. I'll lay ownership to this. There we go. All right, so let me switch back to this camera and take another look at this so you can, gosh darn it, everything's backwards on these cameras and it always kind of throws me. So you can see, there we go. You can see that it's considerably greener than it appeared on the other camera. And again, like I said, I'll scan this in a little bit and get it posted so you guys can take a look at it and see exactly what it looks like. Okay, there's a couple lame jokes in there that I'm not going to. Thank you, Christina. That's very kind of you. Appreciate that, as always. Boo! Another lame joke. Okay, let's see. See, Jeff wants this, you know, right out the door. So I think Jeff doesn't feel comfortable unless he gets knocked around at least 2 or 3 times during any live stream that I do. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys for right now. I have to run and pick up my daughter from work because she still doesn't have her driver's license. I guess I should look on the bright side. I don't have to pay car insurance on her car because she doesn't have one. So anyway, so as Porky Pig would say, that's all, folks. Again, you guys, I appreciate the turnout. It was actually quite good for a last-second live stream that was completely unannounced. I thank you guys for dropping by and taking a look at the process. It's always fun to have someone to talk to while I'm drawing. I hope you got something out of it. And like I said, I will scan that Man-Thing drawing and post it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram shortly, so you'll have a better look at what the colors look like. And keep your eyes open because you never know when I'm going to show up again. And I will say, if you're new to checking out my channel, I would appreciate if you'd watch this. So if you can, if you're willing, if you're able, click the like button and hit subscribe and join the crowd. We got to get these numbers up to 1,000. We're inching closer. We're inching closer daily, and I appreciate all that support. But let's get to 1,000 subscribers and then throw a humongo party. I don't know exactly what that'll look like, but it'll be huge because every time I do a big show, it's always huge. It's just like a giant-sized Man-Thing. So anyway, again, thank you all, and we'll catch you next time, whenever that may be, probably sooner than later.